Howdy guys. So I did a video recently what Wayne Dyer means to me. Ma Wayne. And it's really big, on my heart with him. He's got a huge space in my heart. I will say that when it comes to growing up a metalhead party boy, I grew up listening to a lot of bands. Everyone from, Black Sabbath and Ozzy on his own, God bless him, to Grandpa Alice and, all kinds of bands, from light bands, we'd say like Van Halen and Motley Crue and Skid Row to, you know, White Snake and all my boys, Quiet Riot and girls too, because you got Vixen and my Pamela Moore. But you got heavier bands that I get into, like my boys in Overkill, yeah, and on up to Anthrax and Exodus and Death with Chuck, and Morbid Angel, and I grew up a guitar player. I've been playing since the age of 10, and I'm now 40, and I still can't play as good as my hero. Ooh, I just got vulture bumps. Nobody means the world to me like Jason Becker. There will never, ever, ever be another Jason Becker. Not on this planet, and not in my heart. Now, while I love people like, Yngwie Malmsteen and Michelangelo Bedio, and, all my boys, my Joe, my Chickenfoot Joe Satriani, I love him. Nobody's been able to match Jason Becker. I don't care what kind of music you get into. There's just something about Jason that's different than any other guitar player on this planet that has ever been, and in my opinion, probably ever will be. I mean, I can sit here and name off for hours how many guitar players that have influenced me on guitar. You know, when I first learned how to play, I learned how to play in school. And, sorry, I'm switching hands so I can itch my arm. Um, I first learned how to play in school, and that was just nothing. It's not playing music, the way I, as a metalhead, want to play music. And so after my accident, when I had killed myself on accident, um, I had to learn how to walk again, talk again, think like a human, be a human. I had to learn what the pain was in my stomach called hunger and everything all over again, And so when I got back into playing guitar, the first things that I learned how to play were within 5 minutes. After picking up a guitar again, 5 minutes later, I was playing Poison, Talk Dirty to Me. All but some of the little parts here and there in the solo. And then I just went on to playing all kinds of stuff like Eddie Van Halen. Then I got into Jason Becker. I had already been influenced and listening to so many other bands, blown away by like Halloween and all kinds of stuff, and Yngwie. I thought Yngwie was like, God on guitar, and Jason Becker. Jason Becker has something that these people don't. And this looks a little foggy. Let me wipe this off. Sorry, now you can see. Um, what I love about him is not only does he have the playing ability and the speed and fluidity, and he's just all over the fretboard. Is wow, man. I mean, you cannot sit down and watch some, stuff on Jason, like especially the '89 clinic, and that's where my heart goes downhill for him. Um, but ever since, I'm still a guitar player, and he's sitting in a chair. He was diagnosed with Lou Gehrig's disease. You're getting really emotional. Sorry, buddy. Um, he's my hero. And I love that there's guitars all over his room. I wish one day I could actually have one of his guitars that he actually played, and I want one of his amps that he played, and I'll make them my guitar. I was gonna say a bad word. I was gonna make him my guitar and amp, for the rest of my life. And if I ever get a chance to get a hold of one of Jason's guitars, that's what I will play for the rest of my life. I will just hang the rest of them up on the wall or whatever. I never want to play anything other than that. Like I could, right? Like I'd be grateful. I know there's a God in heaven, but he don't love me that much. you know? Um, God, if I ever got a hold of one of Jason's guitars that he played, and then one of his amps, I could use my Digitech, because I've got my own tone in there programmed, and I wouldn't want to play anything else. Along my way in life, I hope I get to where I'm as good as he is. I don't think that'll ever happen. There's a lot of people that blow the doors off of him with speed, but they don't have what Jason has. If you've never heard of Jason Becker, spend some time looking him up. He's on Twitter too, and I love my hero. And I've said for years how he's my hero on guitar and in life. Aside from I was going to say Wayne Becker. Because I just love them both so much, man. Aside from Wayne, with spirituality and helping me come to peace and come to terms with what I had done in a way that nobody else has ever done. Jason has helped me in so many ways that's not even funny, and I have yet to even meet that man. May God bless me enough, But, anytime I'm ever going through a rough spot in my life, and it seems as though once I get kicked down, I get kicked down further in life. And then I get kicked down further in life. Life just has a way of kicking me down. And I've done a lot of great things, don't get me wrong. I'm not saying, oh, life sucks, because it doesn't. But anytime I've ever had a moment where, life has kicked me down, or my family or friends, walked away from me, there's always been Jason. And he still keeps going. And I just feel, and I break down in tears, because I'll sit there and listen to his music and it'll just bring me to tears. Anytime I'm having a bad moment, Wayne and Jason Becker, that's what lifts me up again and keeps me going. I was lucky enough to have his dad write to me when I was a teenager, because in high school, there was a book in the library where you could write to fan clubs. It was an A to Z book. I wish I stole it, but I'm an honest person. But I found this address for Jason, and oh my God. So I wrote, just thinking I'm writing to some fan club, I'll never hear anything back. And his dad wrote back to me, and I have that letter in a photo album with the little clear cellophane you flip over, onto that sticky cardboard stuff. And I've saved it. And his dad signed it for me, signed Jason's name, and I understood. And then, what was it, a year ago? Something like that. His dad did an art piece called Hollywood Dreams. And I understand it's a reprint, and there was like 5 of them sold, to my understanding. I don't know, I could be wrong, right? But being an actor now, for 11 years, I am just like, oh my god, that was for me. That's my hero telling me to just keep going and going, don't stop, you know. I can't ever stop. And I don't ever want to stop, because he doesn't. Now, before all of this, I was real big on Steve Clark. And I did an art piece, a pencil, of Steve Clark on guitar with his Les Paul. And I finished all the way up to his left hand. All but that section on his left hand, because I kept messing it up, drawing it. And he died, and I just, nope, you didn't finish, I'm not going to finish. But Jason's always taught me, just by, knowing who he is and his story and everything, because I don't know him personally, and I wished I did, Jason always tells me to keep going. I can just hear him in my head just telling me to keep going. As hard as life is, as hard as it is to be an actor in Hollywood, and, being an entertainer, period. Because it's rough on you at times, I just have to keep going. I think Jason's probably the biggest influence in my life left on this planet. He just teaches me to keep going. No matter how hard life seems, no matter how rough it gets, no matter how people and life just kick me down, I'll never be able to stop. And that's one takeaway I've gotten from Jason Becker. You pop in a couple of his solo albums from the time when he was starting to go downhill with his ALS. And if that point, you know who he is, and you know his situation, it's going to make you cry. But they're happy tears, because he didn't stop. He kept going. He still makes music. So, I love you, Jason, Eli, Becker, and I love your whole family. And I'm so grateful I got a hold of one of the pieces from your dad, because that's just a dream come true for me. And it's got your thumbprint on it. I'd love to have your thumbprint tattooed on me. I really would. What I'd really like to do, though, is I'd like to have your dad hold your hand wrapped around that tattoo gun of mine, and have your dad holding your hand, and write out my name on my leg, or my arm, or wherever you can find a space, And I don't care how sloppy it is. I've got Wayne Dyer tattooed in my leg. Getting his autograph meant the world to me. And if I can ever get past having a moment of tears, because he makes me cry every time, Yeah, I just feel so bad for him. And that's not something that's proper. Because you're not supposed to feel bad, And look at me, I'm already getting emotional, like I can barely contain myself. I got to meet my Wayne Dyer. I have a picture with him and everything, and his autograph, like I've said, tattooed on my leg. And one of these days, my biggest dream come true is not only going back home to LA on Sunday, in a couple days. It's Friday night. I'm excited. But, one day I'd love to go and meet my Jason. And I just really want to tell him how much he means to me. and how much he's influenced me as a guitar player and as a person. Now, like I was saying, he's got his guitars all over his walls. I love them. I love every one of them, even the ones I don't like. And then he's got pictures of like a lot of spiritual people in his room. And that's something that I started to do for myself. You know, surrounding myself with, loading the house with Buddha. I mean, I buy every Buddha piece I can find, man. And if I can find artwork of Lao Tzu and Shiva, and I mean, he'll wear a rosary and everything, you know. He just makes me want to be a better person in life, just like Wayne does. I think Dr. Wayne Dyer, my Wayne, my love, and my Jason Becker are by far the two biggest influences in my life to want to be a better person and want to be a better friend and a family member than what I've received. And to be a better celebrity. There's some of them out there. And I don't mind if I ever stay on the D list and rise up, you know, I'm just having a good time along the way. Humbleness is something else Jason will teach you. And feeling gratitude. And I really didn't mean to get all misty on you. I'm sorry. Nobody impacts me the way Jason does. There'll never be another musician like Jason. There'll never be another person on this planet as beautiful as him. I'm sorry. So, if I'm gonna let you guys share, you know, little moments in my life and everything, I just want you to know I've already put out the video of how much Wayne Dyer means to me, and it's just scratching the surface. Here I am, like 18 minutes into this video, and I haven't even begun to tell you how much Jason means to me. I love my Jason so much. He also made me want to go into medical. So I couldn't do it ultimately. I ended up going the route I was going to do mortuary, but I still talk to all my heavy metal heroes and all my boys in medical, and I just pray to God somebody comes up with a way to get Jason on stage again so I can be blessed with the chance to see my Jason on stage for the first time. If you've never heard of Jason Becker, look him up. If you've never heard anything at all about Jason or Wayne, they're two of my biggest influences on planet. You know, and I love my boys like Lao Tzu, and, you know, I'm really getting into Shiva now and all of that, and I love, you know, all kinds of people, Greg Braden, Bruce Lipton, and, you know, my Dalai Lama. I've told you I want to give him a hug and kiss his forehead. You know, and Deepak, but nobody will ever mean to me what Jason means to me. And I don't mean that in a bad way on anybody. But if you're a metalhead guitar player, you've got to know who Jason Becker is. Jason Becker is God. There's boys out there that are faster. They don't have nothing on him. Jason Becker is one of the greatest people on planet Earth. And I wish all of you would know who Jason Becker is. And As soon as I can afford to get one of his guitars, man, I'll buy one of those Carvins, even if I don't want to play anything else, like other than Les Paul right now, because I love the tone. But if he ever puts up something like that on auction of one of his that he's been playing years ago, and I could get a chance to get one that he's played and one of his amps, that's what I want to be buried with. And I mean that from the bottom of my heart. I'm a guitar player since I'm a little kid. And if I ever get a hold of one of his, I want to be buried with it. Just like how the people used to be buried with their violins. I want to be buried with Jason's guitar. I love you, Jason Becker. I love your dad and your mom and your whole family, your brother. I mean, everyone in your family just means the world to me. You are my hero in life and on guitar. Namaste, my beautiful soul, my hero. I love you from the bottom of my Everhart.